Welcome, YouTube, to another episode of Anime Mondays. This is yours truly, the Geek Life. Now, today we're going to be doing another overview of the next episode of Jujutsu Kaisen, episode 7. But before we get to that, as always, don't forget to comment down below with what you think of the episode, as well as hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. Without further ado, let's get to it.
Uh, get to it. We shall. They drew us right into the action.
Indeed, which probably one of the more interesting battles that we've seen so far in the series. I think finally get to see our main man Gojo show us a little bit of what he can do. Although I don't think he was at full 100%. I get the feeling of.
I doubt that completely. What's interesting enough is we see Gojo fight Jogo, the guy we mentioned last time with the volcano head, who seems extremely powerful. Everyone off the back seems way overpowered. Um, I mean, just his explosive might, right? His sheer destruction is slightly ridiculous. And, compared to a lot of animes, you don't see people come out that strong off the back. Typically, you watch people scale into more powerful feats, but it doesn't seem like this show's holding back anything. Like, we're seeing like in-game, end of anime level fight scenes in episode 7. So I'm impressed.
Yeah, just makes me think what. But this is how the fights are going on now. What are the fights that's gonna happen later on down the road?
I don't know, man. But
The interesting thing I find is we kind of get to see that it seems like Gojo is a bit of a sensory type, as we saw that he actually stops his limo and tells the driver to go ahead, I'll see you there. Kind of makes me think that he knew that Jogo was coming through some way or another, and which I find kind of cool. Kind of get that whole forest type of battle going on, and and I kind of like the idea of what Jogo has to offer. Although I kind of expected him to use lava powers, and they delivered on that.
oh, indeed, he had lava summoned insects that were apparently poisonous and burning that then later exploded. Kept shooting waves of, I don't know, volcanic eruptions. um, he went all in, but we got to see something absolutely amazing. We saw Gojo's, ability, which he called infinity. There's an infinite distance between the two of them. So literally, anytime he tries to do anything, it never reaches him. Even when seemingly he seems to have been knocked around or kicked or even exploded, he comes away completely untouched.
It's kind of like an invisible barrier of some sort.
I like the physics implication.
That is kind of cool. Something you don't see a whole lot out of, especially outside of highly scientific type of anime. Which is kind of cool in of itself. So you kind of see that invisible barrier, and then you kind of see Gojo use this little, what was it, a dark hole or a black hole or something like
Curse
that,
technique reversal, red.
and that just led to a whole slew of beatdown for Jogo as you see him take the full brunt of that attack,
Not through the forest, not through the trees.
and then
And he
you just
continues to
see,
get beat
yep,
while getting thrown into a lake.
just got punched around, kicked around without even knowing what was going on or where the next attack was even coming from. And then then we got to see probably one of the craziest things from Gojo.
Before
What?
that, though, he in the very beginning, you remember Gojo more or less tried to warn him, and Jogo was warned that if he tried to kill Gojo, he would die if he
Yep.
took him on one-on-one. And boy, that seems to be accurate.
Yep. I mean, in the first bit of allowing us to see what Gojo is capable of, during the 10 or so seconds that Jogo was face first in the lake, you see Gojo pull off an impressive feat of pretty much teleporting back to the school, picking up Itadori mid train, and have a small conversation with him before yeeting him back out over to the lake, which I'm sure is some odd number of miles away.
Oh man, Yuji was very confused. Well, and beforehand, was he watching Lord of the Rings? Lord of the Rings, I think.
I think so.
Again, another real world reference that they love to throw out at us. And Gojo explains, "Yeah, I brought you here to understand and learn about domain expansion."
Indeed, and domain expansion is quite the doozy in of it itself.
Yep, we see Jogo get very angry and activate his specific domain expansion, which is called Coffin of the Iron Mountain. We just see like giant eruptions of volcanoes, and it seems like all of a sudden mountains get summoned and they're trapped in a alternate magma-based domain where they're supposed to be burned to nothingness, and yet they aren't because of infinity.
You know, all this talk of infinity and whatnot makes me want to pull out the obligatory to infinity and beyond Buzz Lightyear reference.
I mean, he already went far past that. But then we get the little bit of information. Gojo reveals the most effective way, to handle a domain expansion is by casting their own domain. And I had my own theories on when we would see the reveal of his actual face or his eyes. He took off his blindfold real quick and activated unlimited void, and he traps him in a moment, and he's like completely. He has, I guess, the awareness of things, but is unable to do anything.
Yeah. And and at first he kind of gets Jogo kind of gets that impression of he can feel nothing, do nothing type of thing. But in actuality, as what Gojo is alluded to, is you can actually feel, see, whatnot, everything, just taking an infinite amount of stuff in at a time. So what can you
Tsukuyomi.
do?
Yeah. He went straight Tsukuyomi on him. He went Mangeku. I'm just gonna go ahead and decapitate you real quick and dispel your own domain. It was a very beautiful scene. And his eyes are like straight, like holographic blue. I don't know how to explain it.
It did have a lot of nice graphics to it, I have to admit, and which is kind of cool. I'm interested to see what more can Gojo's domain expansion do, because I'm assuming that it can do more stuff than just that. But I guess we'll see as we get to stronger opponents. And
Yeah,
speaking on the subject of stronger opponents, we get to see another one of Jogo's friends make their debut. Haname, I believe its name was.
I think so.
Basically, this
And a field of
freakish,
flowers.
yep, this freakish looking monster that creates a field of flowers.
And apparently
Did,
that field of flowers has the ability to remove the willingness to fight from those in its range.
yep, as they removed Gojo's willingness to fight for about a half a second or so, and Itadori's for I don't know 10 seconds or
I
however
mean,
long that
he
interaction took.
until he left it, he was still there. Like, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why are we fighting?
I'm sure that will probably change as Itadori gets more control over his Sekunza.
hmm But I'm super intrigued now. This show has caught my interest. I'm excited to see what happens in episode 8. I'm excited to. I'm not even sure exactly where they're gonna go with the show. and I don't know how they plan to stop Gojo currently. I guess they'll probably have to do that the domain they mentioned. Otherwise, I don't. I just I think it's pointless.
Yeah, yeah, but as we did get to see at the end that what's his face did kind of meet with a new person on some sort of beach, and it seems according to them that they have a plan for sealing away Gojo, all in due time, of course. So I
Hmm.
guess we'll have to wait until some later episode to see exactly what that plan is all about.
Yep. Now we get to see Jogo. He's more or less a soccer ball.
Pretty much.
But I mean, that was that episode. Oh man, I can't wait. This is probably one of the most intriguing shows. Well, this and I've been watching Invincible. So between those two, that's been my consumption of media.
It's a great time to be interested in anime, is it not?
Oh, it very much is.
Well, you two got a treat for you. Stay tuned until next week when we get to show you showcase episode 8 of Jujutsu Kaisen. And until then, make sure you keep your lives geeky.